The goal of the game of the sun, the rain, and the Appleseed is to score the most points at the end of the game by having the biggest groves of apple trees, critter cards, an even mix of apples, and by meeting player goals. Before you start, shuffle the tree cards and deal 5 to each player. Then, cut the deck in half and place both halves on the table, one face up as the tree discard, and one face down as the tree draw deck. Next, take the critter cards and make sure they're all on side A, then shuffle them. Lay out a roll of 5 and place the rest nearby as the critter deck. Then, set out a random goal card and the Johnny Appleseed card like so. Give the first player token to the player who last had some sort of apple product and you're ready to begin. On a player's turn, they can either draw 2 tree cards, play a grove from their hand, or attract a critter. When drawing tree cards, a player can draw from the tree draw deck, the tree discard, or both. Keep in mind that players will need to discard down to 7 cards in their hand at the end of their turn, so they might want to take another kind of action if they like their hand already. A grove is a collection of tree cards that is either a run of sequential numbers of the same color, or a set of the same number of any color. The bigger the grove, the higher the score, so players will want to lay down as many cards as they can, and since players can't lay down cards on a grove after it's played, a good strategy might be to save up until you can make a big play. These tree cards with the flowers are considered wild, meaning they can count as any number of that color. The colors of wilds do not change. Critter cards have powerful special effects that change the rules of the game, and some add new actions that the player can take on their turn. They also have point values that boost the player's score, so they're worth picking up. When a player chooses to attract a critter to one of their empty groves, they must discard tree cards with a total of at least 2 apples on them. Then, they take the chosen critter from the critter line and place it in their grove. The critter cards adjacent to the taken critter card are scared away and go to the bottom of the critter deck in any order. All missing critter cards are replaced from the top of the deck, like so. If a player already has a critter in a grove, they cannot attract another critter into that particular grove. However, if a critter in the line is a match to the one in a player's grove, that player can couple that critter to increase their point value. Simply discard 2 apples and adjacent critter cards as before, but instead of placing the new critter in the grove, put it at the bottom of the critter deck and flip your original critter to side B. Before we move on, just a clarification. When a creature with an action enters a grove, they don't use that action right away. This action is just another option that the players can choose to use as an action on their next turn. Okay, now back to gameplay. After a player plays their action, they discard down to 7 tree cards in their hand, and it's the next player's turn. If, for any reason, the tree deck is depleted, shuffle and split to create the deck and discard in the same manner as before, and continue play. When a player is the first to have a total of at least 21 trees on the table, this player is awarded the Johnny Appleseed card, and after the current round is completed, the players play one more round, and the game ends. Players then add up their points to learn their final score. Critter cards have gold stars with the number of points that they are worth. The orange star on side A is merely an indicator of what this critter would be worth if it had been coupled, and has no effect on the player's score. Next, players apply the grove size scores, which counts the number of trees in each grove. 0 for 3, 1 for 4, 2 for 5, 3 for 6, 5 for 7, 7 for 8, and 10 for 9. Then the players look at the goal card, and if they finished it, they add that to their score, and the player with Johnny Appleseed also adds his points. Lastly, each player sorts their apples by color and counts them up. Only the color with the least number of apples is scored for each player, so although this player has 10 red apples and 8 golden apples, because they don't have any green apples, their apple score is actually 0. For this reason, a player might opt instead to try and keep an equal number of each to maximize their score. One last thing to note with this, the digits in the corner of the cards are not used in scoring at all, but the shapes underneath them are a quick reference to know how many apples this card is worth. The player with the most points wins. And that's how you play The Sun, the Rain, and the Appleseed, a game that I think you should check out. There's a link in the description. And until next time, this is Hogwash, over and out. I'll catch you later.